The largest of the East English settlements in our region, Baltimore town, was established by charter in 1729. By a treaty signed in 1744, Native American chiefs of the Six Nations relinquished all claims to their lands in the colonies. I'm sorry, I'm not keeping up with the top of it. Okay. Moving to, that was all Baltimore town was when it was in 1729, when it was being proposed to be chartered. Quite literally, probably not a stop sign in it. The road was a valuable asset to farmers, merchants, millers, and tradesmen, since goods and equipment and produce often needed to be bought or sold in Baltimore town. Easy access to a transportation route was advantageous. This area saw even more land sales after the railroad came to town in 1732, and it was improved. The railroad was improved in 1857 to go even farther. They weren't just drinking places; taverns were hotels as well. For long rides in and out of town, they were needed. So Owings Mills is a little bit different in terms of how it became a town, because we can't harken back to, oh, on Main Street we had this and this. So this is a little bit unique to this area at least. Okay, that's the original train station. And then they had a new one built. In this area, as in many other parts of Baltimore County, we had both Union and Confederate families during the Civil War. The Confederacy had the greater number of sympathizers, though, in this area of the county. I won't be able to go into too much military history here. There are those that are better at that kind of history that we'll pick on for another talk. It was a very interesting area. One interesting story, though, that I was talking to another gentleman here about that seems to be true, was that during the Civil War, a Confederate brigade was on Reisterstown Turnpike near Owings Mills one morning. They made their way to Painter's Farm, which is, I'll get to that, but that is the family that bought the Samuel Owings property and had a mill at the time, Painter's Mill, hence Painter's Mill Road. And the soldiers found the farm workers were getting ready to load a car onto the siding of the Western Maryland Railroad with freezers of ice cream for the Baltimore town market. The brigade commandeered the 10-gallon freezer, and with cakes that one soldier had brought from home, they had themselves a cold free lunch for breakfast. Some of the West Virginia troops that were combined with this brigade had never seen ice cream. They thought it was frozen mush and dipped it into their hats and ate it while riding along on the railroad. Yeah. Became community leaders and rather noteworthy. This is a copy of Ethan Allen, who was a rector at one time, talking about Lincoln's assassination. Okay, this is Trenton. Somebody said that. Another very interesting place still in existence of the main houses in existence. This was the home of Reverend Craddock. It is on Craddock Lane, even if the road sign has 2 Ds and it should only be 1 D, it's the same Craddock Lane. It's now surrounded by Queen Anne apartments, and what can be seen now is the mansion, ornamental stone walls, the octagonal bathhouse, which I just love, and a tenant house. The site was originally purchased and patented by George Ogg in 1717 from Lord Baltimore as a 100-acre farm called George's Beginning. The farm was later bought by Captain John Ristow, the High Sheriff of Baltimore County. In 1755, he gave the estate as a wedding gift to his daughter Catherine when she married Reverend Thomas Craddock. For the first 5 years, the Craddock lived in a one-room house. I don't think that was on the property. In 1750, they built a new, larger home for the growing family, soon with 3 sons and 1 daughter. Much of the colonial trade went from Baltimore town to Hanover, PA, and they went along Craddock's Lane, because of course they went through the easiest path would have been through Green Spring Valley, rather than on the hills, and so this Craddock Lane leads out of Green Spring Valley to Reisterstown Road. The travelers and wagon men were known for stopping for water at the Parsons Spring. Reverend Craddock unfortunately became paralyzed at a very early age. He was then still devout, and he was carried to church and preached that way. He died in 1770 at the age of 52. 2 of his sons, Thomas and John, became doctors and served in the Revolutionary War. Most of the farm property, which at that point would have been 170 acres, went to Dr. Thomas Craddock, his namesake, with a 1-story stone house, 1-story doctor's shop, and a stone dairy. Dr. Craddock left the property to his nephew, Dr. Thomas Craddock Walker. The nephew changed his surname to Craddock by an act of General Assembly and married his cousin. They were both born in the same room, married in the same house, and died in the same room they were born. Wow. The nephew built some investment properties. So in addition to owning Craddock the house, he also built 10 Mile House on the Reisterstown Turnpike, which we've already seen, and the stone blacksmith shop across from the hotel near McDonough Crossing. The old 1-story house and farm was passed down in the Craddock family. The home burned in 1858. The existing home that you saw earlier, can we go back? Yeah, well, back. Was built in 1861. On the right is what it looks like today. It is a beautiful property. One of the last Craddock, the site contained the map, yeah, I've told you about that. The outbuildings are older than the existing mansion due to the fire. A tragic event happened in 1953. One of the last Craddocks and philanthropists, Miss Catherine Craddock, and her companion, Mrs. Jessie Stockton, were found bludgeoned to death at Trenton one night. An itinerant handyman was blamed for the crime. More recently, Kevin Welsh bought it in 2007. It was in a state of disrepair. He completed a historically accurate renovation of the inside and outside of the mansion and the outbuildings. However, in 2014, it was back